Smart kitchen appliances have been around for years, but it's pretty hard to convince somebody to give up a perfectly good refrigerator for an expensive internet-connected one. Smaller kitchen upgrades, however, are a lot more acceptable. This could explain the rise of smart countertop ovens like the June oven or the Tovala. Then there's another one, and it's called Brava. It sells for almost $1,000, and it's basically an easy bake oven for adults. I say that because the oven doesn't cook like a traditional convection oven. Instead, it cooks with light. The Brava is outfitted with 6 high-powered halogen lamps, 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top, which can go from 0 to 500 Fahrenheit in less than a second. The oven has a sleek all-metal chassis and a rubberized top. It only measures 0.6 cubic feet on the inside, which is fairly small. On the top are the oven's touchscreen controls, which double as a viewfinder for your food thanks to the oven's built-in camera. There's also a companion app where you can bookmark your favorite recipes, get step-by-step instructions, and keep an eye on what's cooking. Powering all of this are some pretty advanced sensors plus a beefy internal processor. It's powered by a quad-core ARM Cortex-153 processor with Mali T400 MP2 GPU, 8GB of flash storage, and 1GB of RAM. This is basically a computer that's also an oven. Along with functions like searing, toasting, baking, and reheating, the Brava also comes with a slew of different cooking presets. For meats and fish, Brava recommends that you use the included probe thermometer they can plug into the side of the oven, so you can cook your proteins to the correct temperature. The oven comes with a metal tray, a glass tray, as well as an egg tray where you can cook, well, eggs. Not only does it cook foods really fast, it can cook multiple things at the same time. The oven is separated into 3 separate zones. Zone 1 in the front, Zone 2 in the middle, and of course, Zone 3 in the back. So for example, you can put salmon in Zone 2, tomatoes in Zone 1, and asparagus in Zone 3, and thanks to a pre-programmed setting, the oven will cook them all simultaneously at the same time. It does this by adjusting the lamp to different intensities and at different intervals. It's able to cook a full meal like this in just 15 or so minutes. The trick with these preset programs, though, is that you have to put the food in these predetermined zones. So for the above example, if you put the salmon in Zone 3 and the asparagus in Zone 1, you will risk the food getting undercooked or overcooked. Another strange thing with the Brava is that you can't just substitute foods willy-nilly. For example, in a regular oven, you can cook broccoli and cauliflower at the same time with no problem. But you can't do that here. Remember, the Brava cooks with light, and cauliflower has a different color wavelength than broccoli. So if you want to substitute foods, you have to replace them with foods of the same color. So for example, carrots can be swapped out with sweet potatoes, but not asparagus. This all might sound pretty confusing, but Brava does come preloaded with hundreds of different food combinations, with more to come in the future. So if you want to cook chicken and broccoli or chicken and sweet potatoes, you can just hit that option in the Brava's touchscreen and go through the instructions. If you really want to have someone do all the thinking for you, Brava has partnered up with Peach Dish to send you a meal kit similar to how Blue Apron works. The meal kits come complete with all the ingredients you need for the recipe. Prepare the foods according to the recipe and the oven will figure out the rest. I personally find the meal kits much too expensive. It's almost $40 per kit. But it's there for those who don't feel like grocery shopping. I've tried all of these presets and programs, and I can say I'm very impressed at not just how fast the foods can cook, but how great they taste. I prepared a full steak dinner in 20 or so minutes, bacon in just 6 minutes, and a full salmon meal in around 16 minutes. I was most skeptical about cooking eggs in the oven, but even that turned out surprisingly well. But using the oven outside of these presets is not very intuitive. For example, there's no preset for cooking bacon and eggs at the same time, which seems like an obvious combo. You either have to cook them separately or figure out a hack to cook them at the same time. There is a Pro Cook mode in beta, which lets you adjust each individual lamp's temperature, which lets you experiment cooking to see how you like it. That's all well and good, but if you're hungry for steak and eggs, experimenting might be the last thing on your mind. That's sort of the weird conundrum with the Brava. Such a new way to cook that traditional cooking rules don't apply. If I really wanted the intelligence of a smart oven, I would probably opt for the June, which is around $400 less, has a far larger preset library of foods, and doesn't have these weird constraints about zones and colors. Yes, the Brava can cook foods faster as long as you know what you're doing and as long as you follow the preset instructions, which could be good if you're a cooking novice or if you just like playing around with new cooking tech. But for the rest of us, it might be too much. Even in Brava's promotional materials, it says to throw out everything you know about cooking. Maybe it's just me, but I don't want to do that.